Hey guys, what is up? Reese here, and I've got a brand new sneaker pickup to show you. What we're looking at is the Nike KD7 in the Easy Money colorway. The colors listed on the box are Mystic Green, Light Bone, and Gum. These released on Wednesday, September 10th, 2014, with a retail price of $150. This is by far my favorite pair of the initial 5 colorways that were released and previewed of the KD7. You had the July 4th USA edition, the 35,000 degrees, the Global Games, the Calm Before the Storm, and then these. And there's just something I really like about the colors here. You know, it's not a super common color scheme, but it's got a nice look. And I also like the fact that they utilized a different color on the Hyperposit versus the mesh. I think that's a good look since those are such different materials, and it kind of sets each section apart. And it's just like a really interesting look for the shoe. The nickname for these, again, is the Easy Moneys, and the reason they have that nickname, it's actually twofold, but both are related to Ben Franklin. First of all, the obvious tie-in is Ben Franklin is featured on the $100 bill, and these actually, like on the green, the hues of the green are inspired by the $100 bill, and then you've also got graphics taken from the $100 bill, and that ties into Kevin Durant's nickname of Easy Money. But the other tie-in is also related to Ben Franklin, and it's also related to Kevin Durant's past. All of the 5 initial pairs of the KD7 were in some way tied to weather, because Kevin Durant growing up wanted to be a weatherman, so he's always kind of had that passion. And in the past we've seen different pairs from the KD line feature the weatherman aspect in some way, but all of these pairs just kind of take like a subtle hint, and so the hint here just comes from Ben Franklin's experiment with lightning when he took the key and the kite to kind of learn about electricity through lightning. And so that's just kind of an interesting tie-in, and it doesn't like really translate directly to any of the colors, but that's just kind of where they got the idea to tie it into Ben Franklin along with that Easy Money nickname. And so it's just kind of cool. I always like hearing about the stories, because, you know, sometimes there isn't much of a story. You know, it's like the team colors, or it's just these colors look good together. But so when you do actually have that story, it's kind of cool. This colorway does remind me a lot of the LeBron 10 setting, or the Dolphins pair. Biggest difference is the green on the KD is a little bit darker, and then the LeBron's featured more of a orangish mango color, while the accent color on here is definitely more of like a salmon pink, which was not something I was expecting. From pictures, I thought it was going to be more orange. I'm not complaining. I actually think it looks kind of good, and I don't really have anything with this color. It just was something I guess I wasn't necessarily expecting. But I'm really excited to have these. This is my first pair from the KD line ever. And it's not that I've really hated KDs before, it's just there were never any that I was like, wow, I'd really like to have that. But there's just something about this design, and I like the fact that it brings in a lot of different Nike technologies, you know, everything from max zoom and Hyperposit, Flywire, but yet pulling that all together, it doesn't feel like, you know, they were just throwing technology at it and let's put it all together. It actually has a really clean design, and if you check out like performance reviews, like go check out Nightwing2303's performance review of these, and you'll kind of see how all of these things work together. You know, they put every material, every tech unit on here for a specific reason, and so it actually works out really well and is a really good shoe to hoop in if that's what you actually plan to do with it. I'll probably wear these for casual use, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed in the future to getting a pair of the KD7 to actually play basketball in. So with all that said, let's dive into a close-up view, and I'll show you colors, materials, textures, and everything that's going on with the KD7 Easy Money. Here we go with our close-up view of the Nike KD7 in the Easy Money colorway. For the front part of the upper, you've got mesh in the light bone color, which is just basically like an off-white. You've got your swoosh right here in Mystic Green, which has a textured pattern that takes its inspiration from some of the graphics on the $100 bill. If you look right here in the middle, underneath the mesh, you've got little hits of the salmon color that serves as an accent on the shoe, and those continue all the way up through the tongue area. You can also see you've got your salmon flywire at each lace loop, and you can see it through the mesh running down here to the kind of the footbed. The laces on the shoe are kind of like a dark green. It's not quite the Mystic Green, it's darker than that, but it's still definitely a green. And you've got your salmon kind of running in two tracks of like dotted lines throughout the lace, which I think the lace looks really cool. Up here on the strap, you've got a Mystic Green strap. You've got 7 dots over on the side representing, you know, that's his 7th shoe. And then right up here, you've got 35, which, you know, that's Kevin Durant's number. But as you see, you've actually got a lot of 7s throughout. There's actually 7 different 7s in this 35 logo. Just another tie into the fact that it is his 7th shoe. If we look at the inside of the strap, you've got this textured pattern right here, which is taken from the outsole. And then you've got 4 names. You've got Wanda, which is Kevin Durant's mother, Barbara, which is his grandmother, Wayne, which is his father, and then Tony down at the bottom, which is his stepbrother. He always tries to bring the focus of his family into his shoes, and that's just a cool tie-in. As you can see, the actual tongue does not start until the strap, which is about midway up the shoe, which is interesting, but it's not really a big concern. The shoes are so comfortable. Just something kind of interesting design-wise. But again, you've got, just like down here, you've got your mesh in light bone with the salmon underneath coming up here, and then you've got your KD logo in green. The back part of the upper is Mystic Green, and this is a posit material. And what's nice about having this back here is it helps kind of, posit material will kind of hold your foot in and keep it locked down, and also molds your foot as it gets heated up. So there's not a lot of ventilation back here, but you don't necessarily need it back here, especially since the mesh will allow ventilation and movement up at the front. This also has the money pattern taken from the $100 bill. You can see that very well right there. Although, unlike the swoosh, it is not actually textured here. On the inside here, you've got your swoosh in a light bone with the salmon kind of surrounding it. For the lining of the shoe, you've got a salmon lining. The back of the tongue is Mystic Green. And then the insole is also Mystic Green with Kevin Durant's signature in salmon, and you've got a lightning bolt on either side of his signature. If we took a look at the midsole now, here, sorry, the light is kind of, I don't know, my camera's trying to focus up there for some reason. There we go. So the front half of the midsole is light bone. You can see right here there's this little dip, and that's where an 8mm zoom unit is. If we flip around, you've got that also here on the other side. Then the back half of the midsole is Mystic Green. Right here it says Nike Zoom, and then you've got your max zoom or visible zoom unit. You can see your little fibers of zoom cushioning, and then there are kind of like these 2 support columns at the back, which aren't going to show up super well, but that just kind of adds the extra support for the shoe. Next, we'll take a look at the outsole. If we look right up here at the toe, so the camera's trying to focus up to the left for some reason. You got a lightning bolt right there. It's not going to show up super well. At the back, you have 3 stars. Then if we actually look at the outsole itself, this is a storytelling traction pattern, so it's not just a typical traction pattern. It just takes inspiration from a weather map, actually, kind of with the moving lines. And then back here, it's not going to show up on the camera, but you actually have an outline of the state of Maryland, which is where Kevin Durant was born. You also, right here in between 2 of the grooves, in small text, it says Big Chucky, which is a tribute to Kevin Durant's first basketball coach, who was actually shot and killed in 2005. You can see in a few places you've got some salmon accents underneath the main part of the outsole, which is kind of like a light gum. It definitely is a gum outsole, but the typical gum sole you see on like Air Force Ones are a little bit darker. And then right here, you're also not going to be able to see it, but it kind of underneath the outsole traction pattern, it does have the KD logo. Last thing I'll talk about here is you have these kind of little tendrils of support, and basically they mimic the way the structure of the actual foot is set up, and so these will help with support, but also providing kind of that natural movement of your foot so that it feels a little bit better when you are moving, when you're making cuts on court and everything. That about does it for this shoe. I tried to kind of hit everything without dwelling too long on any part of it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the KD7. I really like it. I think it's a good design. I love this colorway. It's still, at least as the time of making this video, it's still available in a lot of sizes, a lot of different retailers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this, guys. It really, really helps. Thanks for checking this out, and have a great day.